Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed one of the most mental atmospheres I have ever witnessed. Please fire away with your questions for the British, Commonwealth and European featherweight champion.
English as well.
English. No, you've not got English set yet. Let's do that on Monday.
It won't give it back, innit?
Fire away, guys, with your questions.
Josh, let's start with the ring walk and the atmosphere walking in.
Couldn't really put it into words. I was really tunnel visioned because that was unbelievable, and it's hard not to get carried away, but yeah, just had to keep me focused, and I think that's the difference between, you know, being at the championship level and not really. Just keep me focused and take that energy off at crowd into ring.
And you both set off at a cracking pace as well.
Yeah, like I say, maybe the first round I got a bit carried away, but I wanted to take it to him, and you know, know that we're even for an hard 12 rounds. And after the second round, we started to slow down a bit, but I got a sense that he was starting to get hurt.
You go in with a game plan, but when the atmosphere's that cracking, do you have to concentrate doubly hard to make sure that you're really focusing on what you're doing in the ring?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, no, I kept my game plan until I knocked him down, and then after that he went out window, and you know, just as the old saying, I smelled blood, and I went for it, and there was no stopping them arms from going.
And he got through with a couple, because obviously the more you were trying to land, you left yourself open for a couple, but you took them well.
Yeah, I was just a bit, you know, tensed up, and adrenaline was pumping, so, you know, maybe a bit too wild, but it did job in the end.
And when you knocked him down, you just jumped in for the kill then, and there was no stopping you, really unleashed, didn't you?
Definitely. I could, like I say, I could sense it with it. He wasn't liking the body shots, and I don't think he wanted to get up from first time he went down, and you know, I thought I just had to catch him with another clean one, and that'd be enough.
And it's been a pretty meteoric rise over the last 12 months.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't really predict about, you know, what would have happened 12 months ago. It's been a real roller coaster ride. You know, picking up Commonwealth, British, and now European. It's been unbelievable, but I'm loving every minute of it.
And who do you want next?
I've just got out of ring, so I don't know.
Paint the house, you said, didn't you?
Well, this is it. Yeah, we've got a mortgage now, big boy now. But yeah, listen, it's all about progression. So, you know, whoever's wanting to come over to Leeds, you know, I'll fight anybody, but I'll leave this to Steve and Eddie and to my dad and team to sort that.
Eddie, what do you put his meteoric rise down to?
A lot of things. Talent, hard work, great work by Steve Wood. You know, I mean, the great thing about dealing with Josh Warrington is that he's come through the hard way. You know, Steve brought him up, invested in him, you know, learned in small halls, learned in bigger shows, got him the English title. He took the gamble against Samir Mamoon in his hometown in Hull for the Commonwealth title, and that really just snowballed from there. The first big fight, Rendell Monroe at the Phones View Arena, you know, stopped him, and then straight back here for the Martin Lindsay fight. It was another quality. I mean, these are quality featherweights. It's not that he's been matched easily. He's beat Samir Mamoon, who beat Lee Selby. You know, he beat Rendell Monroe, world level performer. You know, he beat Martin Lindsay, fantastic featherweight, and now he's beaten a top quality European champion. So I put it down to, you know, the team. I put it down to his hard work, mostly his ability. He's 23 years old. I mean, and that's the thing that, you know, we have to look at in managing his career now, is people will want him to go, but sometimes you've just got to rein him in a little bit, make sure he progresses, learns his match properly, because really, with his position now and his ranking, he can move forward to the world level. There's no rush to do so. You know, the fans here will want him to progress, and he will progress, but we've got something major here. I mean, I've not seen anything like that. You know, I mean, Belfast and Glasgow, wonderful fight cities. You don't see 1,000 people taking their shirts off, swinging them over their heads. I mean, you just don't see it. Grown men. You know, I mean, these are not like 12-year-old. These are grown men. I saw one guy who was about 80. He had his shirt on. You know what I mean?
That was your dad,
yeah, it probably was. But I mean, but this is wonderful for boxing. Wonderful to see such passion, and it makes you want to come back here. And seriously, I know it's cool, but I want to thank the city and Leeds, and not just the fans, but the council. You know, the shopping centres, people, the Grosvenor Casino, people that have got behind the event and backed him, because people at home watching that tonight would have just been sitting there going, wow, that's what sells boxing. You know, you watch that and you think, I want to go to that. You know, so many times you go with Germany last week with Paul Smith against Arthur Abraham, they're sitting there, you know, clapping like this, and you're looking around thinking, where's the passion? Where's the energy? That's what sells boxing, and he's so lucky to have that behind him, because he can progress at whatever rate he wants with that kind of support. and I'm not sure we'll ever have to leave Leeds. You know, and when you've got that kind of support, you can bring the big fights here. When that was a vacant title, you know, we don't stand from the rooftops talking about we secured home advantage. He secured home advantage, and the city secured home advantage because they backed him, and they gave him that kind of support to bring an opponent here. But the rise and the 3 belts within that kind of time frame is, you know, it hasn't really been done before, and I can't wait to come back.
And when you look at some of the big boxing venues around the country, you look at London, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, they're all based around big fan bases, around a stable of fighters. Josh has practically done it single-handedly in Leeds. That's an even bigger achievement, isn't it?
Yeah, and this city's been starved of big-time boxing over the years. I mean, we see it in Hull as well. We're wonderful up there. We're there in a couple of weeks. But this is the kind of support that Ricky Hatton, and Adam Smith's up there, and he mentioned it to me. This is the kind of support that Ricky Hatton had back in those days. It's fanatical. It's not just let's go to Leeds and watch some boxing, like you said. It's about one person. It's about Josh Warrington. It's a fanatical support, and that means so much to someone's career. And he probably doesn't know it. I mean, he's pinching himself all the time. You know, when he won the Commonwealth title, I remember when he won the British title, it was always my dream to win a British. Now he's won the European title, but he's growing as a person. He's growing physically. He's growing mentally. He's only a baby.
Yeah.
You know, he's got so much growing to do. He's punching harder than ever. You know, and it's so exciting.
Yeah, I just add to that. You know, throughout career, early doors, people like saying, "Oh, he's not stopped nobody, and how far can he go without his punching power?" And people forget I'm only 23, and I've had some tough fights coming up, and you know, I've never spouted anybody's name off it or called anyone out. I've always waited for my opportunity, and you know, taking it when it's come. I'm always learning, I'm always progressing, and I ain't even reached my peak yet. You know, and we're at European level, so I don't think doing too bad a job. You know, my dad, Mark and Nicky look after me in training, and these guys look after me outside of ring. But just going back to Leeds, I really am enjoying the fact of boxing in Leeds, because like I say, I used to watch likes of Ricky Hatton growing up, and you know, get a right buzz watching his atmosphere and stuff, and I used to think, why is it not really happening in Leeds? And you know, we had a brief spell with Carl Johansson, who, you know, he boxed Ricky Burns at Town Hall, and I thought that was unbelievable. And you know, last night I'm sat in a hotel room and I'm thinking, hell, I can't believe it. In shopping centre yesterday we had, you know, Ricky Burns, former world champion, Brian Rose, you know, won British title outright, Tyrone Nurse and Callum Smith, all big names coming through. And I thought to myself, without being cocky, I thought, you know, I brought them there. You know, if I wasn't headlining that show, then these guys wouldn't be here, and that's good for boxing fans in Leeds, because they come getting to see the likes of them names, because you know, we're doing the business in the ring.
Steve, you've managed lots of Yorkshire boxers down the years. How does Josh rate in terms of the people you've worked with in the past?
He's great to work with, Josh. You know, just listening to that, he's an intelligent kid, and in boxing, that's a bit of a rarity, isn't it? And you know, he's easy to work with. He'll fight anybody. His dad's easy to work with. You know, we've just got a nice, good team, and I think all we've got to realise is it has happened so fast. And we've just got to make sure that we don't get carried away with ourselves and just go too fast. So I think if we slow down, get the right pace, we'll be filling this arena within 12 months. And it'd be nice to bring some Leeds kids through it as well, because tonight you mentioned we had the Scottish kids coming along, and it's fine, they're good fighters, and it's nice for people to see them. But it'd be even better if we could get the new Josh Warrington and bring them along here, so there's a continuity plan.
I think you'll get that now in the local clubs, in boxing clubs, because now they've got a role model. You know, someone like Josh Warrington, who the young kids coming up will aspire to be, and that's what grows the sport in a community.
So how do you shape Josh's career over the next 12 months then, Eddie?
Well, I mean, you know, he's got 3 belts, can defend any one of them 4 belts. Don't think he'd be defending English though, but you know, 4 belts. We'll be looking into get him in all the governing bodies now and push him up those, get him ready, because you know, 12 months now, I believe he can be challenging for world titles. You know, you've got Lee Selby fighting Joel Brunker next week in a final eliminator. You know, big shout out to Lee Selby, because you know, we've sort of followed him through with all these belts. He owned all 3 as well, and eventually that's a huge fight. I mean, you're talking Ellen Road with that one. You know, and if Lee Selby can win a world title, a fight with Lee and Josh at Ellen Road. I mean, you know, but I think that's the way it's going. This guy will end up fighting at Ellen Road 150%. You know, it might even be next summer. You know, we're moving that quickly, but the plan really is to come away, give him a little rest, probably come back very, very early next year, I don't think we're going to get the opportunity to come here in December. I don't want to just keep coming back every couple of months. You know, we've got plenty of other shows that he can box on as well. We'll sit down on that, but I want him to box here, headlining here, and I want to fill this place, and I think he can do it next time. So, you know, he's had a lot of fights and a lot of progress very quickly, so can have a little rest and then come back and go again.
And Sean, you've always said it's a case for you of him keeping his feet on the ground and working hard, and that's what he continues to do.
It does, yeah. I think it's a case of, like we say, he's been moved along at right pace by Steve, and then with Eddie looking after his incest as well, them two outside ring. I think they've moved him at right speed. And same with all his gym work really in his training. We keep adding little bits to his repertoire when he's ready. Not before, not too early, not too late. You know, I mean, like we said, just to go over what he's already said, people question his power. You don't even start sitting him down on punches till they get to 24, 25. They don't reach the physical peak until they're 26, 27, so plenty of time. We're well in front of his time, and as Eddie says there, really we can move along really at the speed we want to. A nice, comfortable pace when we're ready, you know. But yeah, I'm pleased with him so far. Every performance is getting a little bit better, adding a little bit more to his repertoire, and couldn't be any happier really for him, you know.
And Josh, how did you reflect back on tonight's work?
It's just gone like a blur really. I mean, that atmosphere was unbelievable. I couldn't put that into words. I mean, you know, walking to the ring and just trying to soak it all up. You don't really see atmospheres like that often. Every single person who bought a ticket, I can't thank them enough, who've come as supporters. You know, they made an unbelievable noise in there, and you know, it feels like the whole city's been behind us. I mean, I try to keep off social networks, networking sites throughout the day, but today I had a little look on Twitter and Facebook, and it just felt like everybody were coming along to the fight tonight. I mean, we had Leeds United players there, Leeds Rhinos players, you know, Leeds United owner were there tonight. It was unbelievable, and it seemed like who's all of Leeds were there tonight. So yeah, couldn't thank them enough.
We're just going to have to get Keith Lemon to bring the belt out with us next time, and then we've got everybody.
We're running out.
Steve Wood and Keith Lemon, what a double act.
Any other questions, guys?
Josh, you said a few weeks ago that you're putting the day job to one side and training full time. How much of a difference has that made, do you think?
I think it's made a massive difference. I mean, you know, Phil Reddington and the team at Baby Dental have been superb throughout. I don't think there's many boxers who carry on working and getting to European level. Normally give it up when they get to the central area or whatnot, but it's always keeps me grounded and focused. But for this camp, I've been able to. I haven't been at work since like more or less August, so I've been able to train 2-3 times a day, rest in between, and I think it's paid a big price, you know, as we've seen tonight.
Yeah. And obviously sparring with the likes of Stephen Smith and Scott Quigg,
yeah,
A is absolutely brilliant, and B is again a measure of how far you've come.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not just them two as well, with Jamie and Gav McDonnell and Max Hughes, you know, to name a few. But definitely, if you mix him with that kind of calibre, I mean, you know, them the first two were, well, even Jamie's a world champion. You know, we've got 3 world champions there, and 2 other hungry up and coming fighters who, and it's all good sparring, so you can only learn a lot from that.
Eddie, when you look back at that Samir Moon fight last year in Hull, that was a time when you were trying to grow boxing in Hull commercially, so probably would have been best at that time for Samir to win. Just 12 months later, now you're with Josh, 7,000, it must be a hell of a ride.
Yeah, I didn't know who'd win that fight, to be honest with you. I didn't know a lot about Josh. Steve was, you know, telling me about him for a while before then, but what I saw was a young fighter go into someone's backyard, take the opportunity and win, and that was a fantastic performance. Stopped him late on, and from there it was, you know, he sold a few tickets there. You know, then we went on and boxed Rendell Monroe. You know, brought a few to Manchester, and then we took a quick gamble to come here on probably 3-4 weeks' notice. We had a date with Sky, and we came here on a Wednesday night. You know, and he beat Martin Lindsay for the British title. But what we saw there on a Wednesday night was the start of something. And what we've seen tonight is the progression of that. And when we come back, it's going to be even bigger. So it's really, really exciting. You know, I've not seen this kind of support and this kind of quick growth in a city for boxing for some time. And you hope that, and by the look of everyone loved it tonight, and everyone had a great time, which means they'll be back. And you know, it's great to have that kind of support and that kind of buzz around a fighter. Right, guys, thank you very much for your support.
We're selling souvenir seats outside of it.